Today is Wednesday, Parashat Tetze. Some of the mitzvot in this parasha have to do with civic responsibility. That a person should not be aloof to the troubles of others, that he should help whenever he's called on, that he should protect the safety of others. And so we'll go through a couple of mitzvot that are connected to this idea. And he's not just being a nice guy, but actually doing a commandment, which is a divine commandment. One of them is returning a lost object or a lost animal to its owner. So the pasuk reads, "Lo tir'eh et shorahicha o et seyoni dachim ve'it'alamta mehem." You shall not see the ox of your brother or his sheep or goat that is lost, and hide yourself from them. You say, "I don't want to get involved," No. The pasuk says, "Ashev teshivem le'ahicha." You have an obligation to return them to your brother. You know who's the owner of that animal. You have to return it to him. If you don't know, you can make an announcement. You can make an effort at least to find who's the owner so you can return it to that person who lost that object or that animal. And further in the psukim it says, "V'chen ta'aseh lesimlato, v'chen ta'aseh lechol avedat ahicha asher tovad mimenu mtzata." And you shall do the same for his garment or for any of lost articles of your brother that may have become lost from him. And if you find it, you shall not hide yourself. You should not look the other way. You have an object that is lost from someone, you have to make an effort to return it to him. And that's not just being a nice guy, not just being a nice person. He's actually fulfilling one of the commandments of the Torah. Here's an idea of when you do a mitzvah to say a beracha. Certain mitzvot do not have a beracha to them that is being coined by Hachamim. You do a kiddush, there is a bracha for it. You take the lulav and you shake it, there is a bracha for doing that. There are certain mitzvot like returning a lost object. There is no beracha that you say as you return the lost object. However, still, it's a very good idea to either quote the pasuk, if you remember the words of the pasuk that involve that returning the lost object, or at least to say l'shem kiyum mitzvat hashava deveda. What I'm doing right now, it's in order to fulfill the mitzvah of returning a lost object. It's not just something that is nice to do, period. Yeah, it's nice to do, but also I'm doing it with the intention of fulfilling a mitzvah, and that brings it to a higher level as it involves speech and the kavanah, the intention of fulfilling a mitzvah. Another mitzvah that is here is ki lo tir'eh et hamor achicha o shoro nofelim baderech. You shall not see the donkey of your brother or his ox falling on the road. Ve'it'alamta mehem, and you hide yourself from them. Hakem takim imo. You shall surely stand them up with him. So what are we talking about in this pasuk? There is an animal like an ox or a donkey that's carrying a heavy load, and it crouches from the heavy load, or the load fell off from there. You cannot look the other way. You have to help together with the person who owns that animal, who needs to maybe lift up that heavy load, and it's difficult for him to do it on his own. You should walk over and give him a hand, give him an assisting hand to lift up that load or to help the animal to stand up. And the reason for that is when you see somebody who's in need of assistance, you cannot remain indifferent. Indifference is something that is wrong. You have to take action and step up to the plate. And that also has to do in general with community responsibility, civic responsibility, social responsibility. When there's something that you can do to help, then you should step up to the plate and do it. But through the wording in the pasuk, hakem takim imo, you shall stand them up with him. The person who is the owner of that donkey, or the person who has the trouble, cannot say, "Well, since it's a mitzvah for you, do it all. I'm going to just sit and watch you do this mitzvah." No, he has to. Also, the person himself has to be involved, and you're there to assist and to help. And if the person is not there to also do on his own, then you don't have the obligation to do it on his behalf. he should be also taking responsibility. Your responsibility is to give and assist. There's another mitzvah in this parasha that shows also responsibility to others, and now we have to be careful with the safety of people in general. It says, "Ki divnei bayit chadash ve'asita ma'akeh legagecha." When you build a new house, ve'asita ma'akeh legagecha. If you have a flat roof, you have to make a fence, you have to make a wall, a fence, like a balcony around the flat roof so nobody falls from it. The pasuk continues to say, "Lo tasim damim bebetecha ki yipol hanofel mimenu," so that you will not place blood in your house if somebody falls from it. And as an expansion of this statement of this pasuk, is any place where there is any danger or risk to people, you should avoid having the risk for them. Could entail putting a fence around the swimming pool when there are young children that would be in that house or visitors in that house, so that nobody by mistake, chaz v'shalom, would fall into the swimming pool without knowing how to swim. We spoke about a flat roof, but the Hachamim explained it's not just about flat roofs that you put a fence around the flat roof, but any situation that may involve any risk of people coming into that location or people not being aware of what's happening, you have an obligation to put a kind of a cover. If it's, let's say, a well, put a cover for it so nobody would fall into it by mistake. It could be even a wet floor. When somebody's a custodian who's cleaning a public place, you will have an obligation to put those signs that say the floor is wet, so nobody by mistake would slip on there. And again, it's not just being a nice person doing these things, but actually it's fulfilling a mitzvah that is a divine commandment. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.